Assalamu alaikum YouTube. This is Mirza, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about the concept of sahad in the Quran. Now, the word sahad is usually translated as magic or sorcery or basically something supernatural. But if we look in the Quran for what the word sahad means and see how it's being used, we will realize that it not only means magic or sorcery, but really the idea is that it is turning about something. Uh, Basically, it's an illusion or fakery, or if you call it in modern parlance, perception management. And I think it's very interesting how the Quran uses this term, because this is exactly what we are seeing today. Now, before I proceed, I wanted to let you know that this video is based on the work of Brother Gerrans titled The Quran, A Complete Revelation, which can be downloaded for free from Qur'anite.com. And really, if you want to call it, the locus of this talk is derived from a discussion I was having with someone that basically they were wondering why the Quran is using the word sahar and sorcery in many places. In the story of Musa and Pharaoh, sorcery is very evident. And what does that have to do with us? The Quran obviously is for all mankind, and it is relevant to every ummah, every community in its time since its revelation. So obviously, in today's world, where we are kind of divorced from the concept of magic, whereas we think it's something an old wives' tale and it's not real, it is real. And there are different levels of magic. So obviously there is magic as in the magic where you have the Illuminati and the Freemasons and those sort of people who are actively using spells and numerology to gain power and be able to do certain things. But at the same time, you have the propaganda and the perception management, the illusion that is happening primarily through the media. You have television and the internet, deep fakes and all sorts of other stuff that is being used in a psychological warfare against people, and to basically create confusion and chaos within them and to make them fear. And I know Brother Gerrans has touched upon that as well, but I think people need to understand that this is a far greater and broader game that is that they're trapped in, and that the Quran is the only light, and it is the only truth, and it is the measure of truth by which all other assertions are to be measured with, are to be weighed with. I think people are not understanding that when science is telling you, as in one of the comments that I read on my YouTube channel, is that Quran says that the mountains are stakes, and we have from science that they are not stakes. Well, guess what? I don't believe science in that claim. I take the Quran at face value because it is from God. This is the measure. This is the stick with which I use to measure other information. And so for me, if science is saying that the mountains grew organically or they were always there, and I've heard all sorts of stories, tectonic plates, blah blah, yada yada yada, I don't take them at face value. I don't accept them, because I again accept the Quran as the word of God, as the truth. So this is the attitude of a believer, and so science is secondary to the Quran. It's not to say I'm against anti-science. People accuse me of being some sort of ignorant extremist. I actually have a computer science degree. I have a bachelor's degree in computer science, and I worked in the IT field, programming. And I was really interested in science from a young age. I was interested in all sorts of things. But the more I read into it, the more I realized that this is just sort of a, over the hills and far away. It just keeps on coming up with new and new, more fantastical tale. Whereas you have the sun, which is supposedly the center of the solar system, and the sun and the moon and is revolving around the earth, and the earth is revolving around the sun. But then the sun is also revolving around a black hole, and the black hole is revolving around this and this. And so you see, this is also fakery, this is illusion, this is lies. There's no way to independently verify any of this when the Quran specifically states that it is not allowed for the sun to catch up to the moon, and it is not allowed for the moon to catch up to the sun. Each are in a circuit swimming. And this is from the translation of Brother Gerrans, the Quran, a complete revelation. So the Quran is at odds with the claims of science. There's no way to sync this verse up with our current with the current claim of the scientific community. So I reject it. Now, be that as may be, I'm not here to discuss science. I'm here to discuss this propaganda, this illusion, that this fakery that we are all being subjected to day in and day out since we were born, and to which our parents were subjected to as well. And now it has just taken on a life of its own. As in, you watch TV, it does not coincide with reality. There's no way that what is they're showing you on TV is actually happening. Now, this whole coronavirus stuff, I do understand people are scared and they think that putting on masks is going to help them. The whole idea behind the mask is not based in science, by the way. If you actually study what these masks are and how they work, you will quickly realize that these masks don't really protect you from viruses, as is the claim. And so I will leave that up to you to study and to actually research this issue. I'm not saying that you shouldn't wear a mask or you should wear a mask. Everyone has to decide for themselves what they want to do as free individuals. But I do want to have the choice to decide what is good for me and for my family. I think that is a basic human right, and this is being usurped. So this is my problem with the system. Now, having said that, I want to bring your attention again to this matrix that we live in, this propaganda machine that is constantly churning out new false ideas, new false news, and that you accept without any sort of verification. And please do remember that the Quran warns you. It says that do not follow that which you have no knowledge of, for rarely the hearing, the sight, and the understanding will be questioned on the day of judgment. So this is a serious matter. You are not to follow something blindly without verification. And this is exactly what is happening right now. Now, what actually surprises me a lot is that people take these clowns who come on TV with a doctor in front of their names, or president or whatever, and they take these clowns at face value and they accept what they have to say. Whereas if you encountered some person on the street and they told you that you should wear a mask because there's a pandemic going on, you probably think they were crazy, right? So why would you think that this guy on the street is crazy, whereas some guy who was showing up on TV and has a bunch of titles in front of his name, all of a sudden he is the authority and he is to be trusted? Because the thing is that you have been brought up in a system, and I am also in the same system. I was also brought up in the same field, that we are conditioned to accept authority without question. And that's really the core of the issue, that people accept authority without any sort of due diligence on their part. And this is the reason why sheikhs have infested, these mullahs have infested Islam, because again, they set themselves up as people of authority by putting all these titles in front of them. So the parallels are quite clear, painfully clear actually, between what's going on right now in a free society, the USA, versus what is going on, what was going on in the religion of Islam for a long time, because human nature does not change. Now, propaganda, I don't know if you ever actually study what propaganda is. Obviously they don't teach these things in school. You will have to kind of go around and actually be interested in this stuff. And but propaganda is basically the manipulation of the mind, and this is a very, very old technique. And when the Quran is talking about sahad, it means in a broad term, it encompasses propaganda, fakery, perception management, illusion, magic, basically changing reality and causing people to think that a fake reality is the real reality. This is really what the trick is of propaganda. And you're subjected to propaganda. I'm subjected to propaganda pretty much 24/7. If you are watching TV, if you go out, you watch advertisements, you see the billboards, you are being subjected to propaganda. If you read news, if you read books, everything is now a part of this propaganda machine. I would suggest you look up a bunch of things, Operation Mockingbird by the CIA, and you will quickly see what is going on. This is not something that is just happening by accident. It's actually a designed war to destroy your mind. This is what it's about. Now, I have here a book. I suggest you buy this book. It's called Propaganda by Edward Bernays. And Edward Bernays was actually the nephew of Sigmund Freud, whom you know is considered the godfather of modern psychology. And I'm going to just read to you a little bit from the book, just so you know where I'm coming from, and that I'm not just making this stuff up. This is about the author, and it starts with: the nephew of Sigmund Freud, Edmund Bernays, pioneered the scientific technique of shaping and manipulating public opinion, which he called engineering of consent. During World War I, he was an integral part, along with Walter Lippmann, this is another character you should look into, of the U.S. Committee on Public Information, CPI, a powerful propaganda machine that advertised and sold the war to the American people as one that would make the world safe for democracy. The marketing strategies for all future wars would be based on the CPI model. Over the next half century, Bernays, combining the techniques he had learned in the CPI with the ideas of Lippmann and Freud, fashioned a career as an outspoken proponent of propaganda for political and corporate manipulation of the population, earning the moniker Father of Public Relations. Among his most powerful clients were President Calvin Coolidge, Procter & Gamble, CBS, the American Tobacco Company, and General Electric. In addition, his propaganda campaign for the United Fruit Company in the early 1950s led directly to the CIA's overthrow of the elected government of Guatemala. This is a very powerful introduction, and they're not even apologizing for what this guy was doing. I'm going to read to you from chapter 1, just the first page: Organizing Chaos. The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. We are governed, our minds molded, our tastes formed, our ideas suggested, largely by men we have never heard of. This is a logical result of the way in which our democratic society is organized. Vast numbers of human beings must cooperate in this manner if they are to live together as a smoothly functioning society. What he means by that is that basically people are to be treated as automata, as beasts, as cattle, whose job is to basically produce, and the fruits of their labor are consumed by the small, intelligent minority. Our invisible governors are in many cases unaware of the identity of their fellow members in the inner cabinet. Basically, he's saying that even those governors who are basically using this propaganda against the masses, they are also unaware of the true power, which is the shadow elite. They govern us by their qualities of natural leadership, their ability to supply needed ideas, and by their key position in the social structure. Whatever attitude one chooses towards this condition, it remains a fact that in almost every act of our daily lives, whether in the space of politics or business, in our social conduct or our ethical thinking, we are dominated by the relatively small number of persons, a trifling fraction of our 120 million, who understand the mental processes and social patterns of the masses. It is they who pull the wires which control the public mind, who harness old social forces and contrive new ways to bind and guide the world. So, this is a good read if you're just getting into this circus, this contrived falseness that we are in. Propaganda is real and it is deployed, and you are a target of it. So please do your research before you come in and tell me that the coronavirus is real and that masks are gonna save us, or billionaire Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, whose fortunes are accumulated on the backs of exploited masses. These people, they have any interest in saving humanity or helping humanity. Anyway, I want to come back to the Quran here, because I think, again, the Quran, the use of the word sahad in the Quran is much more expansive than just magic or sorcery. It means basically perception management, propaganda, creating illusion and fakery, and this is how it's used. Okay, this is from chapter 11, verse 7. And he it is who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and his throne is upon the water, that he might try you which of you is best indeed. And if thou say, you will be raised up after death, those who are indifferent to warning, the allazina kafaru, will say, this is only obvious sorcery, sahar mubin. Okay, so this is what they're saying. They're saying this is only obvious sorcery when the claim is made that you will be raised up after death. Now think about it. What exactly is it about this claim of that you being raised after death, that this is sorcery? No, they don't accept the Quran. They think it's a lie, and so this is why they're using the word sahad. So the word sahad doesn't just mean magic, it means basically a tremendous lie, falseness. Yeah, you can get a lot from the Quran just by reading the context. Okay, this is chapter 21, verses 1 through 3. Nigh to men draws their reckoning, and they are in heedlessness disinclined. There comes not to them any new remembrance from their Lord, but they listen to it while they play. Their hearts oblivious, and those who do wrong conceal their confidential conversation. Is this save a mortal like you? Will you go to sorcery when you can see? What sorcery? Will you go to this idea that the reckoning is near at hand? Will you accept it? They say this is sorcery. Aftuna as-sahar. Okay, you can verify these verses for yourself. Okay, chapter 46, verses 7 and 8. And when our clear proofs are recited to them, those who are indifferent to warning say of the truth when it comes to them, this is obvious sorcery. If they say he has invented it, if they say he has invented them, say thou, if I have invented it, then you possess not for me anything against God. He knows best what you say concerning it. Sufficient is he as witness between me and you, and he is the forgiving, the merciful. The indifferent to warning, the allazina kafaru say of the truth, haq, when it comes to them, this is obvious sorcery, sahar mubin. They are not accepting the Quran as a word of God. They are saying that this was invented by a man. So what exactly is the magic about? What they're not claiming this is supernatural. Their claim is that it's not supernatural, because what they're saying is that this is falsehood. This is an illusion. This is not real. This is what they're saying, as in the things that it's talking about, they are not real. There is no life after death. This is what they're saying. Okay, here's another one. Chapter 74, verses 18 through 25. He considered and determined. Damned be he how he determined. Then damned be he how he determined. Then looked, then frowned, and scowled. Then turned away and was proud, and said, this is only sorcery handed down. This is only the speech of a mortal. Okay? I hope you're getting the picture here. Now, that's not to say that the word sahad is just used exclusively in that aspect. It's also used to mean magic, black magic, as it's termed today, which is very real. And obviously, the elites are using these techniques. But again, if you're listening to Lady Gaga is using those techniques too. Music is a very powerful way, is a very powerful instrument to basically implant into the minds of people certain ideas, and that's the reason why TV needs to be avoided, because TV again is using subliminal messaging and guiding and shaping your thoughts. This is what the Quran is talking about. Okay, here's chapter 2, verse 102. And they follow what the shaitans read out during the reign of Suleiman. And Suleiman denied not, but the shaitans denied teaching men sorcery, and what was sent down upon two kings at Babylon, Harut and Marut. And they thought no one until they had said, we are but a means of denial, so deny thou not. Then from them learn that by which they cause division between a man and his wife, but they harm no one thereby save by God's leave. and they learn what harms them and profits them not, and they know that whoso buys it has in the hereafter no share, and evil is that for which they sell their souls had they but known. Now, two things. Suleiman is mentioned here because the Freemasons, those people who practice these dark arts, they attribute the magic to Suleiman, whereas Suleiman never did these things, as in he wasn't using black magic. This was real. He was given certain powers by God. The other thing is that it says that through it they learn that by which they cause division between a man and his wife. You think about that in today's context, what that means is that because of all this propaganda and this feminist movement, which is obviously bringing in a new social order and has already brought it in, obviously in the West at least, women are now being empowered and they think that they have the same rights, and they should be treated like men. Well, they are men is what they say. When the Qur'an denies that, the Qur'an says the male is not like the female. Anyway, that's besides the point. What I'm trying to say is that this illusion, this trickery is being played out right now to cause division between a man and his wife. Basically, men are being destroyed, families are being destroyed, the nuclear family is being destroyed by this propaganda, which is the sorcery, which is the trickery that was employed from days of old, by the way, because divide and conquer is an old strategy. Okay, now we have the treatment of Musa and the sorcerers in the Quran. This is chapter 7, verses 113 to 118. And the sorcerers came to Pharaoh. They said, there should be a reward for us if we be the victors. Said he, yeah, and you will be of those brought near. They said, O Musa, wilt thou cast, or will we be the ones who cast? He said, cast. And when they cast, they bewitched the eyes of the people and put fear into them and produced a tremendous sorcery. And we instructed Musa, cast thou thy staff. And then it swallowed up what they falsified. And the truth was established, and what they did made vain. Obviously, in that context, this was something that happened, as in they were creating illusions and trickery by bewitching the eyes of people, see, and they put fear into them. Now think about this bewitching and fear that's going on right now. Does the coronavirus not fit the bill? Does 9/11 not fit the bill? I mean, is that really hard to fake CGI right now? You can do all sorts of things. You think it's not hard to cause two planes to crash into World Trade Center? What proof do you have that two planes actually crashed into the World Trade Center, except that you saw it on TV? I'm just saying, you need to start questioning what's going on. You need to start questioning what you're shown on TV, because these are all lies. These are all propagandas. There's nothing true in them. And this is how they put fear into the masses. I do hope you're seeing the picture here. Okay, moving on. This is chapter 20, verses 65 to 69. They said, O Musa, either thou shalt cast, or we shall be the first who cast. He said, nay, you cast. And then their ropes and their staves appeared to him by their sorcery to be moving, appeared. And Musa felt fear within himself. And we said, fear thou not, thou art the higher. And cast thou what is in thy right hand. It will swallow up what they wrought. They wrought but the plan of the sorcerer. And the sorcerer will not be successful wherever he be. So this appeared to him to be moving. It wasn't actually moving. Appearance. TV is the greatest propaganda tool in the whole wide world. So beware of this thing. Anyway, so these are some of the verses that I wanted to bring to your attention, because I think what's a lot of people are not understanding is that they are basically they are trapped in this propaganda, in this illusion, in this matrix, and they are looking at everything through that lens. So that's why they question the Quran, and they question people who come to them and say, look, this isn't real. What they're telling you is not real. The coronavirus. You need to do your own due diligence, use your own mind, and pray to God and trust in Him and trust in the book that He sent down. It is high time we come back to the book and believe it literally. Whatever it says is the truth. This is the measuring stick by which everything is to be measured. So if the Quran's claim is that the sun and moon are moving, you better believe that they are the ones moving. And I'll just leave you with this thought. If you asked the child, who obviously was not, I don't know if you can find a child like that, but if you were to ask a child who hasn't been brainwashed yet about looking at the sun and the moon, and you ask them, Do you think that is the sun moving or is the earth moving? He'll look at you like you're crazy. He'll say, no, the sun is moving. Obviously, don't you see the sun moving every day from at dawn and then to dusk, from the east to the west? Just look outside, go see the sun, and trust your eyes. You see, they have gotten us in such a delusion that we are not willing to trust our eyes and ears and minds. We see the sun moving every day and the moon moving every day, yet we say, no, it's not them, it's the earth. So anyway, that's food for thought for you. God willing, until the next video, peace be upon you and take care.